Hello, Nicholas. Are we live? Did you push the button?
We are, Joseph. We are live.
Did you push it twice? Sometimes you have to push it twice.
I I've never done that. I don't know what would happen. We might
Well,
self-destruct.
the ladies in your life might appreciate it.
Wow.
Wow! Just giving you some marital advice, Nicholas.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Gotta keep it fresh.
Thanks, Dad. If I got that advice from my father, oh my God. Jeez. What are we doing? Turning more of a mess than WrestleMania. My goodness.
Oh, Jesus! Yeah, that was bad. That was.
You want
Anyway,
to take a second?
I saw Minecraft over the weekend, Nicholas.
Ooh.
Yes, loved
And
it. Absolutely loved it. It is stupid fun. The
nice.
best part about it was how much fun Violet had watching it and how excited she was that she said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to spoil things, but and she just kept telling me all about the movie, and I didn't care. It was just the best seeing her get that excited about the movie. People clapped, people cheered. Thankfully, no one chucked popcorn during Chicken Jockey. That would have driven me bananas. It was funny because Violet goes, "Oh my God, it's coming! I hope no one throws popcorn." She's sitting in her seat. She's got her
Oh,
fingers crossed.
poor thing.
Anyways, Nicholas, I hope you had a wonderful Easter. I hope all of those who celebrate, who are watching and or listening, also had a wonderful Easter and or Passover. With that said, Nicholas, I will not make a joke about the high holidays, the wonderful holidays that we just had. Instead, I will just get right to it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, TLDR Studios proudly presents to you the greatest, and I mean the greatest, podcasting team in the world. I am Steve. Not really. I am your friendly neighborhood backcracker, Dr. Joe, and he is a comic book writer, Nick Friar. I am also known as Tenacious Doc,
There you go.
and we are the TLDR Comic Book Club. Baby! See, I audibled with the I am Steve. That got huge pops, and I'm expecting huge pops, huge, rounds of retweets and listens for that reference.
Oh, I thought it was
Yeah,
a circle back, like a full circle thing of like all things Jack Black, because
it is right.
Doc
I am Steve, right? And then
yeah.
that threw what I was getting at is that threw me off because I had
Mm.
every intention to announce myself as Tenacious Doc. But I
Okay.
audibled with the I am Steve because it got a lot of pops in the movie theater.
Yeah,
And I'm expecting a lot of pops with our numbers,
of course.
with that butchered intro. So how you doing, Nicholas? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with our listeners. Doc is having a go of it lately. It's been a rough few weeks for Doc, but the show brings me great levity, Nicholas. It brings me great joy. But my brain, if it wasn't already mush, is just it is it's cooked, man. It is. It's like paella. It is just cooked.
I obviously hate that you're going through it right now. It's never I never want to see anybody I care about go through that. Even people I don't like, I want to see go through that stuff. But I will say, to hear that the show is giving you, like, your hour plus of reprieve makes me happy, because it has that same impact on me. I've said it to you. I think I've said it on air, but I've definitely said it to you before and after shows, where it's like, there's just some days, man, where it's just like, I need the show right now, because I'm exhausted, I'm burnt out, beyond frustrated, whatever. And that's what life does to us. And we hope that we bring this to you guys every week, and then we're hoping that on the good weeks it elevates those weeks even more. Speaking of elevating, we want to make sure we remind you guys to subscribe to all of our audio channels, because that's the only place you're going to find our Friarside chats, which are our conversations with creators across the industry. And the only time there's usually a tell when we have a Friarside chat coming up. Usually that's on a day or an episode where we're only talking about the new comics that are coming out this week. So if we're not doing mainland episode, not doing a solicit, we're just doing a what's new, which that's actually what we're doing today, if I'm not mistaken, Joe. That usually means that there's a Friarside chat on the horizon, but unless it's in the can, we are not telling you guys exactly who it is we're talking to, because otherwise we're going to jinx ourselves and then we're going to be pissed later. So make sure you subscribe to one of those audio channels: Apple, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, all those places. subscribe there. Leave a 5-star rating and review. Otherwise, you're going to learn the real meaning of Tenacious Doc. Catching up this week, the one big thing for me was I caught up on Bug Wars. I'll be talking about the 3rd issue of that's out this week a little bit later in the program. But we got something we got to close the loop on for the show, because I talked about Berserker last week because I went and binged the whole series over the course of a weekend. And Joe, did you try to accomplish the same feat?
I'm a man of my word. Okay, Nicholas. If not, my word is stronger than oak. Right.
Okay.
Nicholas, I went in with an open mind. Right. And I got the deluxe edition on Hoopla. Started reading it. First impression, I will stand by this. That first issue effing rips. It's as high octane. It is as awesome as any first issue can ever be. I will say that I love the premise of the story. I think the premise of it is excellent. Now, there's 12 issues in this arc. I've read issues 1 through 10. I stopped at 10. I couldn't go any farther. I tried. This series is 4 issues too long. And I stand by how I initially felt about it, right? And it's not to say that the writing's bad, because it's not. The writing's excellent. The art is excellent. The problem is we get stuck in neutral for long periods of time. Like shows like The Walking Dead, like Game of Thrones went through this. We have these filler episodes, right? Where it's like we've got a 12 issue series here. We have to make it 12 issues. And that's what it felt like. Instead of say the normal approach of, okay, we have this story. Can we tell it in 6? And if it's a success, can we then extend it, right? And boom, usually is excellent. That was the case with Once and Future, and that was the case with Something's Killing Children, all this stuff. Like they were just supposed to be, and then they blew up and big and went on to do big things. You could have told this series, at least this particular story, in 6, maybe 8 issues.
I think 8. That's where as you've been saying this, I've been like, yeah, you could probably do this in 8.
Because we spent too much time in the past. And like it made sense in the 2nd issue. And from that point on, you needed to leave the past behind and maybe just do a couple of quick panels here or there, like little flashback things, not dedicate 2/3 of an entire issue when 1/3 of those issues was the meat and potatoes of what I really wanted. Right. I wanted the government conspiracy stuff. I wanted, that sci-fi element, right? That we got like issues like 9 and 10. Excellent. Right. 8, 8, 9, 10, right? Like those last several issues bookend with that first issue was, really, really good. And the stuff that you got in between was just like, oi, like issues 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 was like not really much happened there. Right. You got little bits and pieces of advancing the present day stuff, but just spent so too much time in the past. Yes, we get it. Right. Like your dad, just like everyone else, is using you as a weapon and, as a means to justify the ends. Okay. You could have done all that in one issue. So that's my biggest gripe with it. I think the overall premise, the storytelling, what a handful of issues gave you was excellent. So I get the love for it. For me personally, it was too much tire spinning in the mud.
The biggest thing that I definitely walked away from after when we talked about it previously was like I was stunned at how much more I was like willing to accept, like where like the stuff that happened at the beginning, and that's stuff that you and I had already read previously, because I was able to like just buzz through into the next thing, and this was a great case of like, to me, where even you got through to the 10th issue, like it's an example of like when you binge stuff, it's a little bit easier to take things in as opposed to, with shows where it's one episode every week, or with comics where it's once a month. So yeah, Berserker from a single issue standpoint I was very much in that same camp, but but at the same time, what you're saying, where this series could have been shortened up, I very much see where that could have been done. And like what you're talking about with stuff in the past, like, yeah, you could have done, like, you could have shortened some stuff up, make sure you iron out a couple things, and go from there. And the conspiracy stuff was fascinating because you're talking about the government side of it,
Mhm.
but then there's also this like cult that worships the main character and everything. It's like, I love that we got it, and I love the way it was utilized late, but it's like, why did this take so long to get integrated into the story? That was surprising.
I honestly, I feel like they said, "Hey, we're gonna make a 12-issue series, stretch it out over 12 issues."
Yeah,
That's what
no,
it
I
felt
don't
like
think
to me
that's
the
wrong.
entire time reading it, you know what I
I
mean?
think it's a
Like,
fair assessment. Yeah,
where if they
yeah.
said like, "Okay, let's shoot for 6, okay, let's push it to 8," right? And then they, so like, "Okay, we can't quite
Mhm.
do this in 6. Can you give," like, that would have, I think, made a much tighter, more like book of
Yeah,
the year kind of thing. Otherwise, it's just
yeah.
like, you know?
It's one of those things too where like it got so much hype, and I think it was good for the industry in general in terms of like there was so much hype around it because Keanu was involved, then it was instantly like an option for Netflix. It feels like this was definitely made to like help the movie in some capacity. And I
Mhm.
think when we talk about the elements like where there's so much extra, they're probably like feeling some stuff out, figuring how things work, adding all this extra back matter to figure out what they want to use because they'll make changes when it comes to the movie. Like
Oh,
whether this was an absolute banger or not, they were going to make changes when it came to the movie either way.
yeah.
So that's
So,
probably where some of that came from. But anyways, good conversation about a book that I liked more as a binge. You still didn't like as much, but at the same time, we had conflicting feelings about it all around. Look at us growing and everything. What do we got
I'm a
for
real boy.
comics that are coming out this week? You have so much range. It's amazing.
I do.
You're an amazing singer, and you can be Pinocchio. Like, who the
I'm
fuck
I'm
knows?
a, I'm a regular old, Tom Hanks. I'm a national fucking treasure.
Oh
So
god.
for New Comic Book Day, April 23rd, 2025, from Marvel, we have X-Men issue 15, Ultimate Black Panther issue 15, One World Under Doom issue 3. Did we read the first issue of this, Nicholas?
I don't think we did.
I,
No,
I I feel like we
I
did, but
didn't.
then I
I
also
didn't.
don't feel like I didn't at the same time.
You may have. I
Uh,
definitely didn't.
yeah, I don't remember. My brain's paella. The Avengers issue 25, Magic issue 4, The Amazing Spider-Man issue 2, X-Force issue 10, Deadpool Wolverine issue 4, Eddie Brock Carnage issue 3, Werewolf by Night issue 9, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue 5, Sabretooth The Dead Don't Talk issue 5, New Champions issue 4, The Infinity Watch issue 4, and then we have a number 1, Nicholas, from a friend of the show, a man who is all too familiar with Predator fighting our favorite Marvel heroes. That is Predator versus Spider-Man, issue 1, written by Benjamin Percy, with pencils by Marcelo Ferreira and inks by Jay Leistein. And I got my first taste of this sort of series with Predator versus Black Panther, which I should discuss on the show at some point. Man, this issue blew that series out of the water. Holy smokes. Like, I can't think of a writer right now on more of a heater than Benjamin Percy. And I've got him earmarked for writer of the year as a candidate. Just because of what we're getting with, Helverine and all the shit that he's been doing the past, few years with with Wolverine and Ghost Rider and all that. This issue, Nicholas, was such a perfect horror story. It's Spider-Man, it's New York, it's Predator, and it's set up as like a 1970s serial killer story.
Ooh, wow.
So, who was the serial killer in New York in the 70s there?
I'm not
Sort of
sure.
shit, I can't remember. But like it's got that feel to it. It's got sort of it's real gritty and it's the way that Benjamin really sort of sets the tone in by describing the setting. It's middle of summer, it's hot, like just the adjectives, the way he sort of, describes, New York, and it's just the perfect like how do I describe it? Like he just sets the stage so beautifully for what is to come throughout this issue. And the art is wildly graphic. What was the book that we read a few weeks ago from the team that did plastic, right?
Oh, I was a fashion school serial killer.
Yeah, right. So at the end of that issue where you've got like this skinned body just hanging, right? Well,
Yeah.
makes that look like
Oh,
child play.
oh,
Okay.
oh, oh.
Yeah. And so you've got the predator, you know, as as a serial killer, so to speak. So like nobody else knows what the hell the predator is. They just think it's a serial killer. So it's like perfect. It's absolutely
Wow.
perfect. And the stage he sets, the stakes that he puts on the line for Peter, and the people in his life was so good. This is
Man,
maybe one of my favorite Benjamin Percy books I have read yet. First issue, so good.
man.
So good.
I was when he told us about it and you called dibs, I was pissed because I was like, this is gonna be fucking awesome. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like,
Blew my
you
mind.
know, it's like you're the Spider-Man guy between the two of us. So like of course you should have dibs. And from a show standpoint, we talked about doing a Predator versus Wolverine, Predator versus Black Panther um episode because you had been reading Black Panther when I read Wolverine. But then this came and now it's like okay, like you like that first issue of Spider-Man more. I think what we're gonna do is an episode of like Predator versus the Marvel Universe and kind of
Mm,
just talk through some of this stuff. But that like I love like hearing the approach being so different for Predator versus Spider-Man versus Predator versus Wolverine because that's more like of a brawl, more of a hunt and everything like that. And like it's just Benjamin
oh,
Percy's an outstanding writer. We talk about it all the time, but this is like he's showing a lot of range by utilizing this same character but going up against different individuals.
yeah, and there's so I don't want to give anything away, but like when you read it at the end, like the characters that he's using, man, so good.
Ooh, okay, yeah, now okay.
Ah!
You got me. Yeah, I was already interested, but now I'm just like, wait, what? Fuck. All right, moving on. We got from DC Comics, Batman issue 159, Superman issue 25, Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 2, just some crazy trippy shit in that series. Justice League Unlimited issue 6, Green Arrow issue 23, Green Lantern issue 22, The Flash issue 20, Harley Quinn issue 50, Green Lantern Dark issue 4, Power Girl issue 20, Superman The Last Days of Lex Luthor issue 3, Metamorpho the Elemental Man issue 5, Peacemaker presents The Vigilante Eagly double feature issue 2, Batman Wayne Family Adventures issue 161, Batman Giant Size Special Edition issue 159, and then I told you this before the show, but I got to share this with the listeners, Joe. This DC book we want to talk about this week. It's Absolute Wonder Woman, shock of the fucking century. I legitimately came into this week and knew it was out, and I was like, "Don't talk about this book this week. You talk about it every fucking week." And there's another book that I had two books like every month. That every time they come up, I have to talk about them. And I said, "Don't do that this month. Like, take a fucking break." And then I was like, and then it came down to it. I was like, I have to pick between one of these two. I have to do it. I have to take one of them because they're both so fucking good and I went with Absolute Wonder Woman over the other option, which we'll briefly mention an image, just because this issue of Absolute Wonder Woman felt a little different from some of the other ones, and obviously we have a different artist over these last two issues, Matea de Ilis, versus Hayden Sherman, who's the main artist on the series. Of course, Kelly Thompson is still writing it. So there's a different aesthetic, but it still very much fits for Wonder Woman and this iteration of Absolute Wonder Woman. But for me, what was so huge in this issue, Joe, is the action, like the combination of action and deep writing in this issue is remarkable. Like we have the whole battle that's going on with Diana. There's some of the best art that we've seen throughout the entire series, and it gives the story such great pace. And then like that's the meat and potatoes, and then you get fucking hit in the head by the message that we're getting from the story that's kind of being told in the background. And I'm like wondering this whole time. Honestly, I was like, I'm feeling like I'm Diana in this, like trying to figure out what the fuck is the message here. And then it's like by the end, it's like, oh, and then you get a little more. It's like, oh, fuck. And it was really, really powerful and really well done.
I absolutely love Kelly Thompson's use of mythology here. And I really, really loved the teachable moment that happens throughout this issue, because this is what I do with Violet, right? When when we're reading books together, or if I'm reading her some of the classics or whatever, and it's you know what you get, is a mother trying to teach her daughter a lesson, both a life lesson, but also preparing her so that when the day comes, she'll be able to make the right decision. It's like it's the ultimate long con, right? That we get here. So I absolutely love that, because there's a panel where Diana's been reading the story, and it's been racking her brain throughout her childhood. And there's one day in, like, you know, how old she may be, mid-teens, whatever, where she's like, the light bulb goes off, right? Or goes on. And then it cuts to present day. Like, I just thought that was such a brilliant, storytelling device, and it was very relatable. So this was a very emotional, issue as well, because there's so much going on. It was brilliant. It was just absolutely brilliant, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a reason we talk about this book every month. It's because it's that damn good.
That's
It just
that's
is.
it.
It just,
It
you can't help it.
it gives us a new element to talk about every month. I think that's kind of like the deciding factor for me a lot of times. Like when it's like, okay, I talk about this book a lot, and like there's plenty of books that I love that I can like that obviously want to talk about. We try and mix it up. We want to you know do the stuff that we talk about that we love, but we also want to mix in some new stuff that we like. Oh, this is interesting, and let's see what we get from it. But when we're getting something that feels so different from the previous issue every single month, like you can't ignore that. And Absolute Wonder Woman, like everybody needs to know about this series. That's how I feel about it, and that's why it's like in the end, it's like, nah, man, like I'm gonna do it again. I don't give a shit. I had to pull the trigger on this one. But I'm glad you. I knew reading this, like at you with you being a parent, like of the two of us, like I'm not like it hit me like the lesson that was being done, like taught throughout all of this and the way it was done. I was like, I'm loving this. I know Joe's gonna appreciate this as well. There's no
Oh,
question about it.
yeah, it was excellent, because there's also that struggle too, where it's like you want to teach the lesson, but you don't want to spoon feed them.
Mhm.
You want them to come to the conclusion, or see what their interpretation is themselves. So I thought it was excellent. Absolutely
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, it was friggin' awesome. All right, what do we got from Boom this week?
From Boom! Exclamation point. We have Minor Arcana issue 6. That, of course, is the Jeff Lemire joint that you stole from underneath me.
Got to talk about
Uh,
Scythe.
right. Damn right you do. Because I really want to fucking read this book. The Armory Wars, Good Apollo. I'm Burning Star for Volume 2, Issue 10. Shorten the title, please, and thank you. But the book we really want to talk about from Boom is a friend of the show, someone whose work, writing and art, I love very much. And that is The Last Boy, issue 2, written by Dan Panosian, with art by Alessio Avallone. Uh, did you read this, Nicholas?
Yes, I did.
Oh man, I so much love this book. I know that was terrible English. But I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What I love the most about it is that, right, it's everyone is grown up except for Peter, and usually it's Wendy and her brothers, right? But those in Neverland are still stunted and young and like Peter. Well, in this, it's the opposite. Everyone's moved on except for Peter, and he keeps screwing everything up. And I love that because he can't see the forest for the trees, right? He can't see beyond his nose. He's still like the arrested development that has gone on with Peter Pan here, in both worlds, where everything is moved on past him, is so good, so good. There's a scene where he's like, "All right, let's go," and he's talking to the Lost Boys, and they're like, "We got wives and kids, bro.
Yep.
We can't, we can't be out going doing that shit. Like, you got to figure it out because we can't. It's not cool. It's not gonna fly." But I loved the stuff that happened, with Captain Hook and the pirates. And I loved the ending. We got a new villain in town, baby. And I love everything about this book. The Alessia's art is fantastic, and Dan's approach is just spot on, for Peter Pan, giving us something new. Again, I love that idea of being able to give us something new with a property that we all know so very well.
Yeah, I have some suspicions about this new villain that's entered the mix, but I'm going to save those because I don't want to make any predictions that are that it could be potentially spoilery in any way. Obviously, we don't know anything beyond the second issue, but yes, I like the whole element of just like the way they continue to play on like Peter Pan. Just he's the only guy who hasn't moved on. Like it's like a subtle commentary. Like we all know people like that in our lives. Like they just can't grow up. I mean, like this is, and there's varying ways that can be, but at the same time, it's just like we all have someone who we at least view in that way, or maybe we are that person. And it's just I think that the way Dan is going about that kind of commentary on people like that, it's you're not feeling it like it's a commentary at all, but it also still feels like it's there. So the property presents that opportunity, but it's so good. It's really really well done. So yeah,
I'm just waiting for Peter to get in the Camaro and rip some darts and drink some Bud Heavies. Blast a little Springsteen, Glory Days.
That's what you need. Yeah, exactly. That would be something. All right, from Dark Horse, we got a lot out from Dark Horse this week. Masters of the Universe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles of Grayskull, issue 4, Cyberpunk 2077, Psycho Squad, issue 3, Black Hammer, Spiral City, issue 5, Into the Unbeing, part 2, issue 3, From the World of Minor Threats, Welcome to Twilight, issue 2, Imbokodo, issue 2, and then Those Not Afraid, issue 4, which is the final issue of Kyle Stark's story over at Dark Horse with art by Patrick Piazzalunga. And we haven't talked about this series a whole lot since we had Kyle on the show because we had him on. We had read the first 2 issues. Then he so graciously sent us issues 3 and 4 as well, which we both read. But we just don't want to get into spoiler stuff, and we know so much of what's going on in that series. And now that we're at the end, I hope that we get more from this series. Patrick and Kyle did an outstanding job, and the fucking ending of this story is absolutely top notch. And it's like there's so many crazy, wild developments throughout the course of the series, and even still, the way the thing ends, I was like, I didn't see that coming. I wasn't ready for it, and I absolutely loved it. It was perfect way to finish that series off.
Yeah, it was. I'll probably have a quick chat about it on the stack, but like, yeah, holy cow, this book is messed up in all the best ways
Yes.
possible. But we got a couple of books that we want to discuss. Nicholas, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah. So the long awaited return of the Witcher series, except we got a new writer. We love what Bartosz Szybor has done, and he's still doing stuff over with the I believe the company that owns
CD Project Red.
Yeah, CD Projekt. That's what it is. So he's still doing stuff over there. So we may see him return to The Witcher at some point. But we love seeing Cy Spurrier getting the opportunity as well, with art by Stephen Green on The Witcher, The Bear and the Butterfly, issue 1. And one of the big things for me, and this was in the marketing, but I'm always interested in seeing another Witcher getting added to the mix because you just never know what that's going to turn into. We know what Geralt's like, but are they all like Geralt? I mean, are they somewhat like Geralt? Completely different from him. And we got we got a little bit of him in this. We got enough to get a vibe from the guy,
Mm-hmm.
but beyond that, we have no idea what's going on with him. We also get a glimpse at the whole monster issue, what's going on there. And as always, with a Witcher story, you have to wonder: is the monster that Geralt is brought in to hunt? Is that actually the biggest monster in that throughout the entire series? And then the last thing, without getting into specifics, the final panel of the issue was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That is there's little things that writers can do to indicate I have a perfect feel. I know this character exactly and what they in certain moments exactly what they do. And sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a little. But with legacy characters, I'm not necessarily looking for that. But when I'm presented with one of those moments and they come through in a big way, it's like, okay, this is going to be they know exactly who they're dealing with. This is fucking awesome. And Sai had that moment in this series at the very end.
Yeah, this was excellent. I love jumping back into the world of The Witcher, and it's like I never left. And Side, does an excellent job in this first issue. Baiting the hook, setting it, and reeling you in. And the artwork is absolutely tremendous by Stephen Green, and it's got a nice dark vibe to it. And I can't wait to see. There's gonna be many conflicts in this series, so I can't wait to see them all unfold. There was another number one from a dark horse
Yes.
this week, and that is Arcana Royale by Cullen Bunn with art by AC Zamudio. And I'll tell you something, Nicholas. This book was a lot of fun. And so what you're dealing with the main character, female character, Hudson, I believe her name is, and she's a bit of a gambler, a bit of a rogue, if you will. She's a no nonsense broad who can hustle with the best of them until she gets roped into a game where she's hustling people that should not be hustled or trifled with. So this is, I love poker stories. I just love the game of poker in general. I think this has a Casino Royale kind of vibe to it. But you're dealing with demons and monsters, and you got a character that is way over her head. And so the issue does a really great job of sort of establishing who this character is and sort of how she gets thrust into this world. And it's a whole lot of arrogance and hubris. And if she's not careful, it's not going to end all too well for her. So this was a fun issue. It had some great action scenes. I think the art is absolutely fantastic, and it's Cullen, right? So, he's gonna tell a wonderful tale. So, did you read it, Nicholas?
You have dibs on this.
Did I take dibs on? I couldn't remember. See,
Yeah.
again, I
Yeah.
can't remember anything. So, yeah, you're gonna have to wait. This is a good one, Nicholas. So, Arcana Royale issue one, Cullen Bunn, Aishi Samudio. Pick it up, read it, love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I definitely would have read this if you had not taken dibs 100%. It sounds awesome. Yeah, fuck you. All right. From Mad Cave, we got String issue 5, Spectrum issue 5, and Synap issue 5, Triple S this week. And then we got, or I guess Quintuplet S? I don't know. Anyways, Blade Forager issue 2, Gotcha Man, Ryu Scavengers issue 1. From IDW, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures issue 24, Star Trek issue 31, Godzilla 70th anniversary foil classics Godzilla issue 1, whatever. I guess it's an anniversary thing. There you go. Have fun. From Vault, we got Lilith issue 3. Oni, we got Out of Alcatraz issue 2, which right is issue 2 this week. Okay. Rick and Morty.
I hope so.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know. I felt like you talked about the first issue a while back, but everybody's publishing schedule is different. Rick and Morty, Ricklemania, issue 3. Titan, we got Solomon Kane, The Serpent Ring, issue 2. And then Joe, why don't you take us through Dynamite?
From Dynamite, we have Silverhawks issue 3. Now, initially, when we did our April solicit way back when, we were supposed to be getting Thundercats issue 15 this week. That ain't happening, folks, because we got Thundercats issue 14 last week. So that would be
Mm,
highly unlikely. But Silverhawks issue 3, that's been a fun series. Barbarella issue 5. Space Ghost and Johnny Quest, Space Quest issue 1, and then a number 1, Nicholas, that you and I have been looking forward to for a long time. For the fine folks at Dynamite, if you're watching and or listening, we would very much like review copies because we would love nothing more than been able to talk about Captain Planet issue 1, written by David Pepos, with art by Aman Casalos. Uh,
yeah.
I'm dying for this book. Now, Captain Planet, for me, I remember sort of being right in my wheelhouse, which was a little bit before you. I mean, how old were you?
When
I'm trying to
did
remember when Captain Planet come out.
I'll find that for you real quick.
Yeah, because I mean, Captain Planet, he's our hero. He's gonna take pollution down to zero. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah.
If that's not a war cry to go out in there and save Mother Earth, I don't know what is.
Yeah. So thank God he's back because like man, where you been? Like we've been waiting for you to take care of that. First release was September of 1990, so the year before I was born.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I was young when this came out, man.
And then it wrapped up in spring of 1996, so I would have been 5. So yeah, I definitely was watching reruns, and
That's a
there's no
lot
question.
longer than I thought. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
Like in my mind, it's like, oh, this was like a 1-2 season show.
Okay, 6-season show. If you want to take a stab, I'm gonna set an over under here for you. Over under 100 episodes.
Over.
Yep. Over under 120 episodes.
Oh shit! I'm gonna go over.
I should have started with that. No, it was under that.
Okay.
113 plus a crossover episode with. It's not denoting the crossover, but yeah. So
Wow.
113 episodes of Captain Planet.
Good run. It's a
Yeah,
good run.
I feel like there's. I need to. You know what? I've been wondering about like because with Thundercats, obviously, like you've talked about it so much on here, and the Silverhawks pops up, and there's just Dynamite's doing a lot of stuff with like from our like the things that cross over between you and I in terms of like nostalgia, and obviously then you got Transformers as well. And we've talked about this before. There's a place for comics that hit on nostalgia. There's also a place for new stories in comics. We love both of those. And the nostalgia stuff's not necessarily always going to hit with like the newer crowd because it's just not there for them. At the same time, Thundercats has been outstanding. Transformers has been outstanding, and I'm sure David Pepos is going to knock it out of the park with Captain Planet as well. But I've been trying to find like other stuff from when I was a kid that I want to watch, like from like cartoons and whatnot. And I got to see if I can find some Captain Planet stuff too, because I definitely 113 episodes. There's no fucking way I saw even half of those, Joe.
Oh gosh, same. I mean, I went back. I bought season 1 of GI Joe on
Oh yeah,
Amazon, so I've been watching that. I've been
nice.
watching Thundercats for a while. I've even been watching. There was a newer Thundercats that came out in the mid aughts, late aughts. That wasn't half bad. It was only one season. Not that bad. I've been watching the new Masters of the Universe. I know it's it's been out for a few years now, but like
Oh
there's
yeah,
Masters of the Universe, Revolutions, and then Revelations, right? So I've been watching those. So like, yeah, I'm definitely thirsting for the cartoons of yesteryear, and they've been doing a great job revitalizing a lot of these properties.
that He-Man series on
Fantastic.
that dude. I'm not a He-Man guy at all. I fucking loved that show. That was
Mm.
so damn good. All
I
right.
still have to watch Devil May Cry.
Oh yeah, dude. That's when I don't have I never did you play the game ever? Because I didn't. I
No.
just remember seeing like knowing about it, seeing like
Mm.
all like the different characters, and it's very much my aesthetic and whatnot. And then like while I watched it, I was like,
It's
oh,
my exact
but,
style.
yeah, when you hear the music too, I don't know if you've seen the soundtrack. Just, if you haven't seen it, don't search for it, Joe. But when you start hearing some of the music, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Speaking of music, here's a little Easter egg for those still hanging around, watching, listening, for who our next guest is. I've been falling asleep lately to The Midnight Shadow.
Oh, really? Isn't
Mm.
it fucking nice, dude? It's
Yeah.
like because you and I do have that similar, like in terms of like rock, we have that similar style that we like. And I remember talking to, I'm gonna start getting into giving things away. I just leave it alone. But it
I
make
feel like I'm
I'm
in an
glad, Joe.
80s movie listening to it.
Yeah, Yes,
Right.
it's amazing. I really enjoy it. All right, from Image and Skybound to wrap things up, why don't you take us through it, Joe?
We have G.I. Joe issue 6, Gunslinger Spawn issue 42, Monstress issue 57, the aforementioned The Power Fantasy issue 8, Rat City issue 13, Universal Monsters The Mummy issue 2, Hornsby and Halo issue 6, Dust to Dust issue 5. Are you going to discuss this book on the show? Can I start reading it?
Which one?
Did you call
Sorry.
dibs? Dust to Dust?
Um, I uh, I think you should jump in on it. I did call dibs
Okay.
on it. I did call dibs on it, and it's funny. I felt like it was too slow through the first two issues, and I've kind of had
Okay.
trouble going back to it since then. So go
Okay.
ahead and check it out by all
Okay.
means.
Will do. Null Hunter, issue 7. Medieval Spawn, issue 1. I did mean to read this one. Didn't get to it.
Okay.
G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue. Sorry, let me try that again. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, Roadblock, issue 1. Assorted Crisis Events, issue 2. If you want dibs on Medieval Spawn 1, say it now. Forever hold your peace.
No, nope, I don't. I don't. I do
Okay.
not. It was solid. It was solid. Definitely check it out. But
Okay.
because you like medieval spawn and whatnot, but not dibs.
Okay. Gotcha. So the
Um,
last book from Image Skybound, you highlighted it. You beat me to the punch, Nicholas. Bug Wars, issue 3, written by Jason Aaron with art by Muhammad Azrar.
Yeah, but so I was behind on Bug Wars, and I made sure this week, okay, let's check it out because I really enjoyed that first issue, and then the part of it's not a dense series, but it like there's a lot of world building being done, and I think it's one of those moments where it's like I need to make sure like I don't want to get disrupted because I don't want to get distracted because there's a lot to take in. The world building really is the strength of this series. Like it just keeps getting more and more interesting, but even then, you know at how things developed in the second issue with the plot, and then we get more in the third issue, and it's like, oh wow, okay. Like I'm very, very curious how this main character is going to handle the obstacle that he's being presented with because it's really we see situations where it's like, oh, you have like you care about problem A, you have problem A and problem B. It's like you care about both, but at the same time they conflict in some ways, and then a character finds a way to kind of bring everything together to make it all work for everybody in the end. But I'm looking at this one and it's like, I don't know how you're gonna fucking do that this time around. I have no clue how Jason Aaron's gonna do that. So I'm very excited there. And also, we're 3 issues in. This is a 6 issue series. I'm calling it now. My favorite character is Sister Weista. I may not be able to say
Oh,
her name correctly, but she's absolutely my favorite character. We got more of her in this issue after getting to know her a little bit in the third issue. I love her role in this and the potential that not only that she can bring Joe, but her coven as well.
uh, well, I'll share with you off air a little theory that I have.
Ooh,
I kept reading it Sister Wista.
that's fair. I don't know how to say it.
But it got a little hedonistic towards the end of that issue, Nicholas.
Hmm.
Things got a little, got a little. We'll leave it at that. But no, this is. I love it. I loved it from the rip. I thought this issue was great because it presented um, a whole lot of. There was some really great twists and turns, if you will. Some great reveals in this issue as well. So absolutely love Bug Wars. Out of the two bug books that came out at the same time, this one hands down is the bug book to read.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I appreciate you taking making sure to check out the other one on our behalf. And I do want to say before we wrap things up, the Power Fantasy, as you alluded to, like that was the other book that I would have normally talked about this week. It's outstanding. It's still my favorite ongoing book right now. I can't get enough of it. And honestly, of all the weeks that I'm not talking about it, like what for those who read it, who are reading along and listen to the show and maybe know my style, like of all the fucking times for me to not talk about it, this may be actually the dumbest time for me to not do it. But we'll leave it at that. It's an outstanding series. I've said it enough. I'll talk about it when issue 9 comes out. But that is going to do it for us for what's new this week. Quick reminder, make sure you subscribe to one of our audio channels. So that way you make sure you get any of our Friar side chats delivered right to your listening device and you'll get notified. Those are our conversations with creators across the industry, and that's the only place you can find those conversations are on our audio channels, not over on YouTube. We'll make sure we publicize them, but that's all you're going to get on our socials. All right, Joe. So until next week,
Keep reading. Question mark?